Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith, Silent Bob, and all those terrible Jay and Silent Bob type pictures, man. You're listening to Drop the Mic, the only podcast that I listen to that I'm not a part of. Every podcast I listen to, I usually talk on it, but not fucking Drop the Mic. That's where I'm like, let me hear what the boys have to say. And now, we drop the mic.
Something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear.
I'm coming, man. Don't you down me, Foley!
I'm sorry, can we cut? Jamie, can we cut?
What is going on here? Hey, I'm about to jump out this helicopter like Wesley Swanson.
I'm doing the scene right now.
What scene? The scene is about emotionality. Where is it?
Oh, God!
I am dealing with a bunch of prima donnas.
The action guy who left the fridge open. The award winner.
Critically acclaimed Australian actor Kirk Lazarus underwent a controversial procedure in order to play the platoon's African-American sergeant.
I know who I am. I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
The comedian.
You think you can do what I do? Take a picture of this.
This summer.
Want to make this movie right?
We take those boys up there, put them in the trees.
Shoot the whole thing guerrilla style.
Real fear in the eye.
Real emotion.
Yes! Yes!
The movie they think they're making.
Exterior, rainforest, dusk, cut to a frightening jungle.
Isn't a movie anymore.
You're not a matrix.
So what? This feels pretty real!
Exactly.
Let's use it!
I'm gonna speed, man.
Some of us might not make it back.
What do you mean? Like, not on the same flight?
Who sent you here?
Oh, hey, dude, you alright? Totally leaned into that, bro. You wanna do one more?
I don't believe you people.
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people?
Tropic Thunder.
To go a lot of trying just to get up that hill. Now we up in the big league.
That's the theme song for the Jeffersons.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
You out of your mind?
What?
You really need help.
And just because the theme song don't make it not true.
Welcome back to our humble San Diego podcast. We are your hosts, Wesley Swanson and James Warny, and together we are Drop the Mic. This is episode 322, Run Through the Jungle, where we aim to discuss one of the most controversial modern comedies ever to be made, and that film in question is, of course, 2008's Tropic Thunder. But before we start sipping on some of that booty sweat, let's get warmed up, shall we?
Yeah, I like that segue.
And now for a special news report. Brought to you by Drop the Mic.
Pop culture news, my man. What do you got for this week?
Yeah, so it looks like, I don't know if you heard this, but Josh Hartnett and Joel Edgerton are both, looks like they're in talks to play Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face, in the Batman Part 2, or the sequel to the Batman. That's going to be coming out here shortly, I guess. That's the Matt Reeves Batman with Robert Pattinson. I'm excited for either of those two to play, to be a part of this universe. What about you? What are your feelings on these two actors?
I saw that write up and I'm excited, man. I feel like that's a win-win either way. But given that Josh Hartnett is kind of fairly recently making a comeback, I would really like to see him kind of dip his feet into the DC world and be our Harvey Dent. I think it would be really, really cool.
Yeah, I'd agree with you too. Both of those guys, I'm stuck for either one. But yeah, I think I don't know how old either of them are, but I would say based on looks, but this is just on looks, of course, Hartnett is younger. He could be older. He does look younger. So that might be I don't know what kind of look they're going for with him, but he just looks younger. So I'm assuming that he would have a longer stay in this universe. But I do believe these films are only going to be. I do believe Reeves is only doing a trilogy, and he's done with it. But I'd say whoever gets this role is at least going to have a paycheck for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, I'm super excited. Speaking of Matt Reeves, their Matt Reeves verse for Batman, the Penguin series on Max is officially going to be rated TVMA. So yeah, I guess we can expect some dark and grittiness from that. What would you consider TVMA to be considered? Is Euphoria TVMA, or is that...
Yeah, that's for sure TVMA. That's the type of... Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. So, not saying that it's going to be as... not vulgar, but as...
sexual.
Explicit. Yeah, explicit as Euphoria, but I'm sure there will be a couple of F-bombs in that series, and you probably see a couple of boobs. Moving on, but that is also at a standstill right now because of the writer's strike, and let's get these guys paid. But what else do we have? Oh, DC, this is a rumor, so not saying this is confirmed, but a rumor right now that DC Studios is looking to acquire the help of a Mr. Tom Cruise for a future project. Don't know what that role would be, but yeah, it's just funny that this kind of came out today or within the last day or two, especially because Mr. Cruise is in Tropic Thunder. But yeah, I think anything that he does is pretty successful, so I'm all for it if he wants to go into the DC universe. So there was a report, and this is kind of obvious, so I don't know why this is a report that kind of needed to come out, but I talked about it before that the script for The Flash 2 is already been written, and the sequel basically will live if the numbers for The Flash are for the box office are good. And right now we're looking at about I think the numbers are only giving for Friday for a Box Office Mojo. You can check that out if you want, but as of today, it is only at about 24 million for the Friday. This is not counting today and this 3-day weekend that we're going to be having, but it's trending right now. It looks like it's trending to go to be 58 to about 70 million for the 3-day weekend. Hopefully we see a boost in those numbers. 25 million is not that good. I think they're kind of underperforming at the moment, but hopefully we see some improvements with that. Have you seen the series The Idol on Max?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, I have not. I didn't really have any interest in seeing this, but I just saw that I don't know if this is part of your news, but they have canceled the series. Yeah, this just dropped earlier this week, so they are not going to be renewing the series for a season 2 due to the backlash over some sex scenes, and I guess the weekend is not very helpful on set. Looks like he's kind of being a little diva-ish, I guess.
Oh,
not very easy to work with, apparently, on set.
I believe they're only on their second episode, right? I watched them both. It's from the creator, Sam Livingston, I believe his name is, from Euphoria. Definitely has that kind of vibe as far as the way it's shot and everything. And, Lily Rose Depp. She's really good in it. I was digging the first episode and where they were going. And then, the weekend is just, man, very hard to take seriously, to be honest. As far as like in the medium of acting, it just doesn't. He wasn't doing it for me. It just feels like he thinks that he's in a music video and he's kind of doing this like bravado thing that, like, the way that he sings is the way that he acts, and it's just like,
oh, wow.
You're kind of just being yourself, and even, and and he's the leader. Not to spoil anything, and I think you can read this in the synopsis, but he's the leader of a cult, right? And he's kind of trying to pull one over on Lily Rose Depp's character, and there's a lot of very graphic kind of stuff in there, and it's just I'm still kind of on the fence of how I feel about the show as a whole. It's very off-putting.
It's reported that, this is a rumor again, that Lucasfilms is not interested in developing a season 2 for the Book of Boba Fett.
What?
Yeah, man. I know it wasn't the most favorite or watched of the Star Wars series that's out now, these number of series that are out now, but that kind of sucks. But I'm assuming that we'll probably see him if they don't continue this series for Boba Fett. I'm pretty sure that we'll see him cameo in a couple of the shows that are coming out now, in terms of Ahsoka or maybe another Mandalorian season. But I feel like a lot of the Boba Fett season 1 was like a Mandalorian. I mean, Mandalorian, he was in there a lot. So
like a side school of Mandalorian.
Yeah, so it was like, oh, here's a bonus episode, or bonus level for your character. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see to see if this is actually going to happen. But as of right now, it seems that they're not interested in renewing it. So that kind of sucks. I got 2 more pieces and I'm trying to get done. Our boy Bill Skarsgård is looking to play Alec Holland, aka Swamp Thing. And it looks like I think a week before this they had mentioned there were some reports that Bill Skarsgård was having some type of meeting or showing some interest with DC. And then this news just broke yesterday, actually, that he may be getting the role of Swamp Thing, and I'm all for it. He's a pretty big guy. He would have to probably put on a couple of pounds of muscle, but of course that's going to be all prosthetic anyways. If he's playing Swamp Thing, so I'm all for it. He's definitely weird enough to do it.
Wow, yeah, I had no idea about that. That guy is getting to major work because they already wrapped production on his new Crow movie, so we got that coming. He's the villain in chapter 4, right?
Yeah.
So he's just, no wonder he was like, I don't want to fucking do Pennywise.
I don't need Pennywise. You know how many things I got going for me right now? Yeah, man, I'm stoked for that. Let's see if it all pans out. Hopefully they can lock them down. With the writer's strike, I have no idea if that is affecting anything. But we'll see. And then one thing I know for sure that the writer's strike is affecting is James Cameron and his Avatar 3, 4, and 5. So all of those are being pushed back a year. So yeah, Avatar 3 is not coming out till December 19th, 2025. Avatar 4, December 21st, 2029. And then Avatar 5, December 19th, 2031. So
I think I saw a thing where God, what's Gamora's real name?
Zoe Saldana.
Saldana, yeah. She was like, "Wow, I'll be 53 when the final Avatar comes out. That's great."
It's like, hey, you want to see 3 more avatars? No? Okay, it doesn't matter anyways. You're gonna get them. So
I just can't believe they're projecting projects that far into the future in the first place. That is insane, right?
Yeah. So, and they're coming out. I believe they're coming out with a Avatar. I think we talked about it. An Avatar video game. So that's happening too.
And that's going to be for all platforms. Do you know?
I think it's going to be for the newer platform. So yeah, PS5 and Xbox X or Series X, whatever it is.
I'll be sure to not play that.
Yeah, he's getting enough money, so I don't think he needs any revenue from the video game. And that's my last bit of news. That was just interesting. Just Avatar for the next decade at least.
First up, Evil Dead Rise is set to hit Max on June 23rd, as well as a physical release on June 27th. For those of you who can't wait, the film is available now via digital. You haven't seen this yet, right?
No, I'm definitely going to be checking it out on Max when it comes out.
Yeah, dude. Don't sleep on it, man. It's really good. Especially Go ahead.
I watched the trailer. I was showing Alyssa, and I'm like, "Hey, check this out." It's I'm like, remember the movie where the girl cuts her arm off with the chainsaw? Well, this is kind of like that, but it's in the same universe. And she's like, oh, okay. And it goes that she got as far in the trailer as when the girl puts the cheese grater on her leg, on her calf.
Yeah.
And then you see like them pull it, and she's like, "Turn this shit off." Because like Jordan was right there. She's like, "What are you be watching?" I'm like, "It's just a trailer. Everyone sees this."
It's a great segue into my next piece of horror news. Filmmaker Damien Leone is bringing us Terrifier 3, and he promises to go even more over the top than the already bonkers sequel. A bigger budget will only allow the team to be more creative and, dare I say, hyper-realistic. You have not seen 1 or 2 yet, right?
No, I know from other people who have seen them. I know that they're very terrifying. You know, pun intended. Yeah. I hear things about them, so I don't know. I'm kind of hesitant to watch it just because of like I don't know. I'm a you know, it's just the things you hear. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to be scarred.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. But yeah, I'll definitely check at least the first one out just to get a gauge of where it's at. But yeah, I'm as long as horror movies are getting the love that they need and they're getting sequels. I think it's super cool that they're it's a super successful franchise, isn't it?
Yeah. It's almost what's crazy is that it's like turning into this kind of saga, and for it to be based in the nostalgia of 80s kind of slasher lore. We don't really, we had Michael, but we don't have like a kind of more, I guess you could say Michael is a throwback, but there's no like that kind of grindhousey vibe, like a saga happening besides Terrifier right now, where it's almost like very DIY, they're pretty much like putting it out themselves, and all of these people are super into it, and it just doesn't happen. Sometimes even A24 struggles at the box office, and these guys just cleaned up and I think they made Terrifier 2 for, I want to say $250,000, and it made over 13 million just at the box office, and not even including physical media where they have steel books and all these kind of different variants and stuff.
Yeah.
So that gives you, an idea of how much people are seeking this stuff out,
Yeah, that's awesome.
It is, because it creates gateways for other filmmakers to actually be like, hey, we can actually do this because there's a market for it. It's not being ignored,
Yeah.
So, very, very exciting time to be a horror fan, especially with The Exorcist, David Gordon Green's The Exorcist coming in October, I believe, this year. Disney's still untitled new Alien film, as we already know, is being directed by Fede Alvarez, and has a new slate for August 16th, 2024. It's said to be a standalone story. Any thoughts on this? Are you excited about it?
I'm excited, and it is confirmed to be a standalone, so nothing. Is it tied in any way to the previous franchises?
I mean, obviously they're gonna. It seems like it's hearkening back to the original, where they're going to be this group of young people are going to be pitted against what seems like they're going for is one xenomorph. So that's the tie-in. Besides the title, is that the xenomorph is going to show up, and it's going to be like super kind of gritty, but also very contained, the way that the first one was, where it's very claustrophobic. You're on the ship the whole time. You don't know what's around, every corner type of deal. So that's exciting for me because I feel like they went super big with Prometheus, and then, you know, a few years later, Ridley Scott came back and did Covenant, and both of those movies, the fans are really kind of divided on, you know? So it's cool that so many years later, they're kind of hopefully going to take it back to what the fans truly fell in love with and give us something great, I hope.
Yeah, I'm stoked for it either way. That's a really fun franchise. And I think, yeah, like you said, bringing it back to that first Alien aesthetic is probably the smarter way to go.
Yeah, stop with like trying to do all this like world building.
Yeah, I get the world building and how you want to explain things, and all those two movies did was leave me with more questions and more confused as to what's going on, and everything is just you have these scientists acting really stupid on an alien planet. So
or the engineers that are just like, I don't know, everything's so vague. I don't even want to get in. That's like a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, it is. Oh, that'd be a fun one to do sometime.
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to the late Cormac McCarthy, who passed away recently. If anybody out there who's unaware, he is a famed novelist who's been working had been working for years. And he's known for stuff like No Country for Old Men. So,
oh wow,
he's done so much great work that's been adapted to film, and has, all of it's been pretty solid. So it was sad to hear that we won't be getting anything from him again. And I think he was in the process of having another. Hopefully that can still happen, but having another one of his books adapted right now. So I'm curious to see what happens to that in the future. R.I.P.
Yeah. R.I.P. man. Oh, one more bit of news that we did kind of talk about, me, you, and Ryan. Marvel's not looking too good with Tenoch Huerta.
Yeah,
I think that's how you say his name. He played Namor in the Black Panther Wakanda Forever movie that came out just last year. There's some sexual assault allegations that are being brought up. I guess this happened maybe a couple of years ago, but I believe her name, the woman who is bringing this to light, her name is Maria Elena Rios. So you can look her name up or look up the actor, Tenoch. Marvel can't catch a break right now with their actors. And this is not me saying that he is guilty, but as of right now, it's not looking too good. I want to, see how things play out and what really happened. It's just kind of hard for us as people who are on the outside looking in. But he actually, I believe, he was kind of quiet for about a week or so, and then he just recently put out a statement saying that he can no longer remain quiet. That him and this woman were in a relationship, a consensual relationship. They were a couple, I'm assuming, and they were happily together for some time, and then he left her, or they decided to split up. And that's when, and then some things that's when these allegations were coming out about him. So I don't know if Disney knew about this, or this is just, brand new breaking news that had just came out. But I'm pretty sure Disney does a lot of research before they hire these guys. Especially knowing that they are going to be probably in the franchise character, but it kind of sucks to be Disney right now.
Yeah,
and I'm not victim shaming or anything like that. I'm not, I don't want people to think that I'm taking his side or whatever. But we have to be. It's a hard thing, to go through, I guess, if especially if he is innocent and someone is, dragging their name. With anyone being accused of anything that they didn't do. I'm not saying he didn't, I'm not saying he did, but if your name's being dragged across the mud, it kind of sucks when you know that you're telling the truth and you can't do anything about it. On the other hand, for someone who has a lot of money and power, he can probably sweep this under the rug and pay people off to make sure they say the right thing. So we never know what's going on. But what's your take on this?
When I woke up that morning and saw that, I was really taken aback, man. I wouldn't. I guess we never expected, right? But just to have another Marvel character, prominent Marvel character, someone who's just been established, just like Kang, right?
Yeah.
Come out in the news and have this kind of negative light on him. It sucks. And again, like we said, neither of us are taking anybody's side. At this point, we're just observing and waiting to see where what information comes out next. So yeah, it just sucks to be a Marvel fan right now and know that a lot of the future is uncertain for spin-offs and things that maybe we were excited about.
And now it's time for the weekly recommendations.
Yeah, for how much should I talk about James Cameron and his Avatar movies? I did watch Avatar 2 or whatever the one that's out right now.
The Way of Water.
Yeah, I did watch it. It is a really good movie. It's long as hell, but yeah, I mean it's visually it's stunning. It's crazy what Cameron's able to do, and the story's awesome. Definitely check it out. I don't know if by Avatar 5 we won't have some type of hate towards this series because there's so much, but then again we have a 10th Fast and the Furious, so maybe we won't get tired of it. I mean, it's a really cool story, and it doesn't feel forced like some other things, but it's the story. It takes place after the first one. It's very fun. It's like you said. It's a world building movie. Cameron's building this crazy planet. So definitely check it out. I think it's available on, I want to say it's available on Disney Plus. It's available on HBO. For whatever reason, it's actually available on a couple of streaming services. So yeah, definitely check that out if you have the time. That's Avatar: The Way of Water. And then my next one is a film. I think it's called Flamin' Hot. So it's basically the story of how hot Cheetos were made, or the invention of hot Cheetos. And the guy who kind of thought of the idea, who was basically a janitor at Frito-Lay. And he kind of saw that the culture of the Latino culture was kind of being ignored. And pretty much saved Frito-Lay from closing down permanently. It's a pretty interesting story. Check it out. It's a really fun one. Pretty cool.
Hell yeah, I need to check that out. And I was pretty impressed that it was directed by Eva Longoria, right?
Yeah, she's in it for it's funny. She's you don't notice it's her, but Alyssa knew it was her right away when we were watching it. She's in there. She says 2 words, and you see her on screen for maybe 3 seconds as the camera pans across her. But Alyssa's like, that's Eva Longoria. I'm like, who? And she's like, the lady who was yelling on the phone. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. I believe you. I don't know who. I didn't see it, but all right.
She also produced the first John Wick. All random.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Wow.
So, since we're talking about a Ben Stiller movie, I just wanted to give some love to The Cable Guy from '96. You can check it out.
Yeah.
Check it out on Netflix right now. It's got Jim Carrey, of course, Matthew Broderick, Leslie Mann, Jack Black, Owen Wilson, and Bob Odenkirk. Go watch that. If hopefully you've all seen it, because that's a big classic. Yeah. It always trips me out, dude, that Ben Stiller has directed quite a few films that I feel like nobody really acknowledges that he actually that he directed. He directed Zoolander. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No one talks
so wild.
about it.
And now for the movie focus of the week.
So we're talking about, of course, Tropic Thunder this week, which is your pick. It's from 2008. It's a comedy. It runs at 2 hours. It's got a pretty high 82 on Rotten. The film follows a group of Hollywood movie stars who, while in the midst of shooting a war film, are unknowingly dropped into an active war zone deep in the jungle. Written by Ben Stiller, Ethan Coen, and Justin Theroux. Directed by Ben Stiller, starring Jack Black as Jeff Portnoy, Brandon T. Jackson as Al Pacino, Robert Downey Jr. as Kirk Lazarus, Danny McBride as Cody Underwood, Bill Hader as Rob Lolum, Ben Stiller as Tug Speedman, Nick Nolte as Fourleaf, Jay Baruchel as Kevin Sandusky, Brendan Soho as Tran, Matthew McConaughey as Rick, Reggie Lee as Byung, and Tom Cruise, of course, as Les Grossman.
Yes.
In 1987, Steven Spielberg released a war film called Empire of the Sun, to which a young Ben Stiller was cast during his time on set. He found the actors feeling like they were real soldiers, fascinated by and quickly coming up with a bare-bones concept that would years later become Tropic Thunder. Setting out to do a satire on actors taking themselves too seriously, specifically through the Vietnam War film genre, Stiller eventually reached out to friends Ethan Coen and Justin Theroux to help pen the script. The project was greenlit in 2006, and filming took place on the Hawaiian island of Kauai. The production proved to be rough on the entire crew, with lighting and terrain being huge issues throughout the 13-week shooting schedule, which started in July of 2007. The film opened in the US on August 13th, being held back from its original July slot in a marketing tactic to target young people who were looking to have some fun before having to return to school. The film opened to mostly favorable reviews and did big business at the box office despite controversy over the film's harsh depictions of disabled people and the use of blackface for Robert Downey Jr.'s character. The debate over the film is still relevant today, with Stiller constantly defending the movie as satire and that the jokes are purely aimed at Hollywood and the outrageous lengths some actors will go to appear authentic in their characters' roles. Overall, Tropic Thunder is still massively entertaining and quite funny, bringing some heavy-hitting action and ridiculous fun in equal measure. As James said on last week's episode, this is the type of movie that just wouldn't be made in today's climate. And that gives you an idea on how fast the world can change, with Tropic Thunder having come out just a couple months after Marvel's original Iron Man.
Nice. Very nice.
What does this movie mean to you, and what was the purpose behind picking it?
So for me, I guess it holds a nostalgic type of vibe, but more so just going back to 2008. So I would probably be a senior in high school, I'd say. So this is more about reminiscing. It's kind of, I got that rewatching it takes me back to the time where, we were just I'm just watching it with my buddies, after school on a weekend or something, going to the movies and catching this. And then eventually buying it on Blu-ray and stuff like that. But this movie stuck out to me just for the, and then I kind of related to Superbad, the quotability of this movie. Me and maybe two other guys who have watched this movie together at least 10 times, and are constantly like texting each other quotes randomly. So this movie still lives on with me. It's just one of those movies that I could put on and laugh over and over, and no matter how many times I've watched it, it still holds till today. With a huge cast, you mentioned all those people. This was kind of Robert Downey Jr. This is during his rising from the ashes, as a phoenix, kind of his career coming back to what it was after that Iron Man all the Iron Man stuff and the Avengers and everything that he got to do. But it was just, he's kind of unrecognizable at first if you don't know. If I wouldn't tell you that it's him, you would never know. And then the same thing with Tom Cruise. You can tell Tom Cruise is just having fun with this. And I think that's what makes it so good too. But I love this movie. It just takes me back to a time where just watch movies to have fun. And I think this cast, it shows that this movie they were having fun. I'd like to believe that they were having fun. But yeah, I think it, like you said, it's kind of a satire joke on how crazy and to the edge these actors will push themselves, especially in the Kirk Lazarus aspect. But yeah, I love this movie. We can talk whatever you want to talk about. We can talk about it. I like I said, I've seen this movie 1,000 times. It is so fun. What about you? What's the first time? Do you remember seeing this in theaters or seeing it on TV or renting it?
So from what I remember, when it first came out, I was actually I was against it, and I thought it was going to be dumb.
Okay.
Right. And then somehow, I don't know what possessed me to watch it, but then I watched it and I was like, holy shit, because what's very impressive about it is that it's being so cleverly meta the entire way.
Yeah.
And you literally cannot guess what's going to happen next, especially watching it for the first time. It's like the most asinine, bonkers shit, but in the best way, Mm-hmm. And I feel like they really set the tone with just those fake trailers.
Oh my god, yes! I didn't even talk about that. The fake trailers. When I first watched this, I'm like, wait, what the hell's going on? Like, there's it's like, oh, there's trailers before this movie. Like when I'm watching it at home. And I'm like,
yeah.
What are trailers doing on the DVD for? Like, that's weird. Yeah, but go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. The trailers, and once you realize that they're mock trailers, it's so hilarious that's like they play those and then the movie starts. You get the trailers and then the DreamWorks logo shows up and you're just like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
And it never lets up. It never lets up. And everybody fully commits to their role the entire way. Especially just like talking about how expertly shot this was, the cinematographer.
Oh my god.
You know who the cinematographer is? He did fucking Braveheart, dude.
Oh my god. No way.
Yeah.
Oh man,
they got somebody that's like an award winner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I was going to bring that up. Just like the shots of when they're in the helicopter flying over the scenery. It's beautiful stuff, man.
Yes, absolutely.
And the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack to this. Definitely brings you back to like all those Vietnam War era movies that we would watch like.
Yeah,
the soundtrack and everything, very reminiscent of those.
Yeah, very much in the vein of like Rambo and Missing in Action and Apocalypse Now and Platoon, like all of those. It encapsulates all of those very, very well.
Yeah, you can definitely see where they pull from, especially Platoon. And I want to say like the first scene that we get from when they're filming the fake movie.
Yes.
You get Tug Speedman, just really overacting and essentially copying William Dafoe in the Platoon scene. Oh my god, the amount of times he gets shot, and then he's like, just like convulsing in the air. It's hilarious. I love that. It's so great. To me, I mean, say what you want about Robert Downey Jr. and the whole controversy, I guess you'd say. I mean, was it a controversy when this came out? I don't remember it being like a huge deal, but I know like we said, in today's climate, it is being brought up as, of course, doing blackface. But
I'm gonna be, I'll be honest and say, like, we had internet access, but I don't think that productions and stuff like that wasn't as common, like as common, I guess, in that kind of MySpace era that they released this in, where I guess maybe if you were super nerdy and whatnot, but it wasn't as accessible as now. And I'm sure it turned a few heads or whatever, because I think in doing my research, I think Robert was hesitant on taking it, and I think he didn't want to do it at first because, okay, just think about this, man. This is like he's now Iron Man. Iron Man, the first Iron Man's already out, right?
Yeah.
He's Tony Stark. He's on top of the world. And Ben Stiller's like, hey, do you want to do this role?
You want to play a black guy?
And the fact that Marvel even allowed him to do that,
right,
is pretty fucking wild to me, because they're pretty, I know we just talked about like all this controversy, but they're pretty protective over, what they allow their actors to do while they're still under contract, correct?
Yeah, I'd say so.
So it's pretty intense. I know, of course, in a way, their first Iron Man really kicked off the MCU the way that we know it now, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that has a lot to do with it, is that Marvel was still kind of in the beginning stages where they were more lenient, but
right.
But just the fact that he was able to even be like, yeah, we can do this, and then you have Rick Baker, a fucking phenomenal like effects artist. He applies the makeup 2 hours a day. They sat in the chair and they did that. And I think the weather conditions were causing trouble with shooting, because his like makeup would come off and then you have to go back and do it again. 2 hours,
dude. Jeez. Yeah, that sucks. That's crazy. Torturous.
Yeah, right. Well, not compared to Drax when you think about that.
Right, yeah. I love the fact that Al Pacino, he brings up the fact that, he's like, when he's like, well, why do you want to even be in this movie? Don't you bring enough revenue stream with your rapping career? And he's like, man, yeah. He's like, yeah, the only good black character they had, and they gave it to the white man. And it's like, he's like, so I gotta do what I gotta do, And it's like, oh my god. And they play, those two, Brendan T. Jackson and Robert Downey Jr. They play off of each other so good when they're interacting with each other, and how, Brendan T. Jackson he's a black actor. He's a real, black guy, and he's like, he can't get over the fact that Kirk Lazarus, some Australian guy, is playing a black guy, and their banter between each other is so perfect. And like Jack Black, he kills it as this, heroin addicted, cracked out, actor who's kind of fading away as well, in a different way, but the same as kind of Doug Speedman.
Also, did you know, was it Jeff Portnoy, Jack Black's character was based on Chris Farley?
Was it? Okay, no, I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. So I think, I think Tug is based on a young Rambo, the first Rambo that we ever saw, right?
Okay, yeah.
And he initially had wrote it for a young Keanu Reeves, and then, yeah, for whatever reason he couldn't do it, and then he ended up just casting himself, which he.
Oh man!
And now we know he does a lot.
Yeah. God, this whole cast, man. I mean, even Matthew McConaughey as Rick Peck, the Pecker.
Yeah.
He is amazing in this. The couple of minutes that he's in this, he definitely kills it. This whole cast is amazing. Even Danny McBride. I want to say this might have been my first introduction to Danny McBride. I'm not 100% sure, but I'd have to go back and see if there's any movies I had watched with him previously in it.
Did you ever watch Eastbound and Down? Because I think that's what he was big for at that time.
Yeah, I had never watched that. I know one of my buddies who I watched this movie, we had seen this movie together. He is a huge fan of Eastbound and Down. And I think, this has to be my first introduction to him, but he killed it. I love his character. He's like, these boys got blue balls, or this jungle has blue balls, and my boys want to release the seed, or something like that, whatever he says. It's so hilarious. Just the lines in this are nonstop. Everything is so funny. Like I said earlier, Tom Cruise, that when he's in this movie, he kills it 100%. I think I remember rewatching this with my grandparents, and after the movie was telling them, "Oh, that's Tom Cruise," and then she's like, "Tom Cruise, that guy, the action guy," and I'm like, "Yeah, Tom Cruise." She's like, "That's not Tom Cruise," and I had to show her on my phone, "Look, this is Tom Cruise," and she's like, "Oh my god, I didn't even know that was him," because they have all these prosthetics on his fingers and his forearms to make his forearms look a little fatter, and his fingers to look fatter, and the bald head and the beard and the glasses and the fake nose. And I want to say that he kind of plugged his nose with some stuff because he kind of sounds stuffy.
Yeah.
So you can just tell, like I said earlier, he is having fun. He is loving every moment of it. I think I want to believe that he is. For me, I don't think you get a actor to do that kind of stuff if he's not. So yeah, man, I think everybody killed this.
So what I know about the Tom Cruise's character, Les Grossman, a lot of the stuff that he did was improv, right? And they were trying to, when the movie was being made, they never released that he was going to be in the movie, and they kept it a secret. And somebody leaked some images online of him in the makeup, and I think Tom Cruise got super pissed about it, the way that he always gets mad about everything. And he I guess he threatened legal action and got the photos kind of taken down. And when the film was released, it still was a relatively big secret, and everyone was shocked that he was in this movie playing, against type. That's against the most far side of the spectrum as you can go. Is what Tom Cruise did with his huge ass fucking hands, and he's super super violent and aggressive, and then reading more into the making of the film and what inspired everything, I guess, and this is pretty troubling, is that character was based off of Harvey Weinstein, apparently.
I was gonna say that. Oh man, yeah, I figured. Especially when he's like, "Oh yeah," when him and Rick Peck are "We got to get Tug back, we got to get Speedman back," and he's like, "We're not going to pay him. We don't deal with terrorists." And he's like, they're going to kill him. And he's like, "Yeah, he is going to be killed, and you know what? We're going to mourn for him publicly, of course." And he's like, and then somewhere down the line, when there's been enough time to grieve, we're going to file an insurance policy on him. And the freaking Bill Hader's he's like, the insurance money alone will cover the cost of anything that we lose from this movie. And it's just the scumbaggery that is that you see that goes on behind closed doors in Hollywood. The fakeness of everything, it's amazing. And they do such a good job making it funny though. And kind of, and just showing you that. I think it's hilarious. And then I want to talk about Al Pacino, how he is this machismo, over the top masculinity, and of course you find out later on as the reason why he is the way he is, with booty sweat, and his music videos, just girls twerking on his face.
What is it? What do they open the movie with in the trailer? Where he's "I love pussy, I love pussy." I love pussy. I love all the pussy. And it's booty sweat and busting a nut bar. It's oh my god! It's that's so that era too, which is hilarious. I do have a question for you. Did you ever try? Because they really made the booty.
I know. I remember this 10 years ago. I'd say 10 years ago. I had to rewatch the movie again for the 100th time or whatever. And I'm like, man, that'd be so cool if they made this. And I remember searching it up, and it's like, a case of booty sweat was like a 12-pack of booty sweat, and it was for some like astronomical amount. And I'm like, I cannot buy this. There's no way. I wish I would have bought it because I think at the time I didn't have. I was broke. So yeah, I worked at Target. I didn't have money. Man, I remember just being like, "Oh, I have to get this. Where else can I find this? It has to be somewhere." But I was so stoked that they actually made it for like a limited run. That was so awesome.
I wonder what it tastes like. And my thing is, would you have just kept it for a keepsake, or would you have drank at least one?
I would have drinking at least one, and then I would have kept the rest or displayed them somehow.
Resold it.
I already resold them single, like
$1,000
so
a
that
can.
way I make a profit. Yeah. But man, then like later on we find out that he's gay, and the way it happens, because Kirk Lazarus is like, yeah, man, I know you got one of them girls back home, don't you? And he said that Kevin's like, oh man, Chino, he's got all the ladies. This guy's rolling in ladies 10 deep. And then he's like, oh yeah, man, yeah, it's true. And he's talking about like, oh yeah, what's the girl's name? He's like, oh yeah, I just want to, he says Lance. That's Lance Bass. Kirk Lazarus is like, hey, what the fuck did I just hear? So funny. Oh my god. And he's like, I didn't say Lance. I said Nance. Yeah. So I loved his character. I love his kind of character growth, if you would. The whole scene where Jack Black is kind of cutting down, or he's withdrawing from all the drugs that has been on since the beginning of the filming, and he's like, you gotta tie me up, man. I don't care what I say. I'm lying. Anything I say to you, it's a lie. He's like, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, man, I'm better. I'm good now. It's a lie. Don't fucking listen to me. The whole time he's like, oh my god. He's like, it's freezing here, man. I'm so cold. Aren't you guys cold? And he's like, hey, you want to borrow my jacket? He's like, no, are you fucking crazy? It's so damn hot. Oh my god. Just that whole he does it so good. I like I said, everyone in this is going 100%.
Did you know? I think he was pretty pissed that he had to bleach his hair. He didn't want to do that at all.
No way.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure he's probably, some of that is actual frustration. I guess he almost didn't take the role because he was like, yeah, I don't really want to do that.
I'm not gonna bleach my hair. Oh man.
But yeah, he is so funny. When who is it that creeps up on him? Is it Kevin?
The skinny, Kevin. It's Kevin. He's like, He's like, what? He's like, my fucking jelly beans, man. He's like, I want some jelly beans. He's like, I want some jelly beans. No, get your own fucking jelly beans. They're mine, man. And just the fact that he, like, Ben Stiller goes, like, basically insane. Like, he falls into the role, like, too deep. And I love the scene where he kills the panda, and he calls Peck. He's like, Peck, I killed one. The thing I love the most. He's like, a hooker? You killed a hooker. And he's like, Diane, get off the line. And she gets off the line. He's like, all right, here's what you need to do. You need to get yourself some bleach, a whole bunch of hand sanitizer, and 3 bags of lye. He's like, no, a panda. He's like, Amanda? Dude, I'm pretty sure that's not even a real name. Oh my god! I'm telling you, man, these like the lines. Me and my buddies would like we could go back and forth of like just remembering a lot of the lines. It's so fun. I love this movie so much. It's just a good time. Like to just even watch it for fun. Like I mean, we watched it for fun. We don't really have to do anything. We're just talking about how much fun we had in the movie and watching it. But
yeah.
To try to break it down, it's to me, I think it's a fun movie. I mean, if you like to break it down by beat, but I think it's just fun just to talk about the stuff that we remember. But I don't know. This is one of those movies where, like I said, you watch it over and over. Everyone kills it. I've said that like 100 times already in this episode. I'm pretty sure people are getting annoyed with me saying that, but
What do you I have a question.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the Robert Downey Jr. stuff. What do you think about Simple Jack?
I love him reenacting it too, as he's a prisoner.
Yeah.
And he puts on the old man's dentures. He's like, it's okay, I don't really have to. He's like, put it in. The whole third act, I think, is probably the funnest because it's just like action packed and and it's nonstop. The whole movie is nonstop, but it's just like that is like a little level higher. Just Robert Downey Jr. speaking Cantonese or whatever he's speaking. He's just to try to break into sneak into the compound. And he has Jack Black tied up, and he's like, what do you say? This pale eel. I found this pale eel sneaking around in my rice patties. And that's just so good, man. He's like, I'm a lead farmer, motherfucker. Oh man!
Did you hear about what happened at this premiere? At least over here in the U.S.
No, what happened?
So a bunch of activists came out for disabled rights saying that they were outraged on I'm assuming the Simple Jack stuff and the way that they throw around the word retard pretty loosely in this, right?
Yeah.
They protested, and there were so many people that came out that they had to build a fucking fence that was super big to kind of for added security. I think they beefed up like their normal security for a red carpet event, and then I guess I think when it had its premiere in the UK, like there was no more kind of protest, I guess, over there, which is pretty interesting. But I just thought that was a cool, like a crazy little bit of trivia that people came out to try to stop this. And it felt like when they came out, and obviously it's in a different context, but when they people were outraged against Dogma. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
It's just like, damn.
Just a movie, guys.
Watching like that stuff now, at least the Simple Jack stuff is kind of cringy, but also I feel like that was the intention, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you watch stuff like the Fairley Brothers that have done, like Shallow Hal and fucking There's Something About Mary and movies like that, they're not really holding back with the crude humor, any of it, you know? Yeah. So it's nothing new. So I'm not quite sure why people were so outraged over this. Maybe because it was such a very prominent cast, you know? Big budget. I just wonder why. Like nobody. You don't really hear about like the other depictions in all those other movies that are in the same vein, you know?
Yeah.
Like a good one. Another movie that probably wouldn't work today. The Johnny Knoxville, the Ringer, where it's like he joins the Special Olympics and he's pretending to be handicapped.
Oh, right. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. This was actually, this was a year after Superbad. So you can see where this kind of was, like we've talked about Superbad. It was kind of the end of an era, in a sense of comedy wise. But yeah, I think definitely these two, you know, those two would never be made in this, like you said in the beginning, never been in this type of climate that we have now. Yeah, I mean, not saying that some of the things that were said aren't incorrect, I guess you would say, but
or not PC.
Right. Yeah. There you go. But I mean, I don't know. It's hard. It's kind of like a line you have to dance around.
But also, we have to think about, okay, say you are offended by these movies. It's not PG-13. These are rated R movies. So they are allowed to be offensive. And if you can't handle it, or if there's something that you don't like, don't spend your money on it and don't watch it.
Right.
It's that simple, right? I just wanted to say that Superbad, you said, came out a year prior, the summer before, correct?
Yes.
2007. So
yes.
The financial success of Superbad is the reason why Tropic Thunder held out for a similar slate the following August. It had a lot to do with Superbad.
Wow. Cody, or Danny McBride, when he's like, "Oh man, I can't go down for this shit." He's like, I almost blinded Jamie Lee Curtis on the set of Freaky Friday. If word gets out that I killed the director, he's like, "I'm done for in Hollywood, man. I'm done for." It's like so random.
It's like that's your priorities right now.
Oh my god. Nick Nolte is so good in this too. We kind of haven't talked about him, but he's good at playing the fake army man, Four Leaf.
Yeah, he's just pretending, right?
Yeah, he's like I never left the United States. He's like, oh my god, this book is fake. He's like I wrote it as a tribute. I'm a hero. And he's like, I was in the Coast Guard. He's like the janitorial division or something. And he's like, oh my god, you're a fucking trash man.
Man, Nick Nolte, dude.
Dude sounds like a bag full of marbles in his throat.
He's all, you gotta send him out in the shit. He's the reason the whole movie really happens the way that it does.
Yeah. At the end, we get the award ceremony where Speedman wins the best actor. You see, what's his name? The guy who's in front of him, super well-known actor. I can't remember his name. Angelina Jolie's dad, Nick, John Voight.
Yeah.
He's like so pissed off that Tug Speedman wins the best actor award. And I love that the film that they're making is called Tropic Thunder.
That fucking Robert Downey Jr. was nominated for an Oscar for this.
Oh my god, yeah, that is insane, but it's so perfect. I may be on an island here by myself, but I'm gonna say this, and I mean, me being a Marvel fan might have something to do with, but this and Tony Stark, him portraying Tony Stark, are probably the best acting roles he's ever had in his entire career. I'm going to go ahead and say that. I have to go through his filmography again and look. I may, throw in a couple other ones, but as of maybe because this is so fresh in my mind, I'm like, man, he fucking killed it. And whenever there was like a commercial for this movie on TV or something, or on like whatever, I for whatever reason I forget that I tell Alyssa this, and every time I see a trailer, or not even a trailer, I don't even know how I would see this on like TV, maybe like on TNT or something, I always tell Alyssa, "Oh, did you know that's Robert Downey Jr. playing the black guy?" And she's like, "Yes, James, I know. You've told me every single time this movie comes on TV." It's like his acting in this is awesome. It's so good. It's like.
Do you want to know another little tidbit that'll probably make you laugh hysterically right now?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So Brandon T. Jackson had a relative come on set to visit him and see everything, and she mistakes Robert Downey Jr. for Don Cheadle.
Oh my god!
She did not recognize who it was.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Oh my god, I hope that is true. Oh my god, that is so funny. Oh man. Oh man, I would never let Don Cheadle never let him hear the end of that if I was.
That's some Matrix shit, because Don Cheadle is War Machine.
Yeah, that is hilarious. I would have brought that up every single day that they were on set. Hey, do you know they thought I was you on Tropic Thunder? Oh my god. Yes, that is perfect. Oh man, this is so great. Was this a financial success?
Yeah. I think it raked in over. Let me look up just to make sure that I'm correct, but I think it made well over $100 million. Yeah. So the budget was 92, right? And then box office total draw is 195.7 million.
Yeah, it's not bad. Okay.
I would expect it to do this with that kind of cast, right?
Yeah.
They're lucky.
They would have to.
Because they fucking spend a lot, even just think about that opening sequence where I think it's Robert Downey Jr. is running through the field and you see the chopper just come and fucking hit to the ground. Dude, that's so beautiful that they were even able to capture it. So it takes you in and out of this reality of like, God damn, that's so good. And then it's like, here's some more funny.
And you see the cameras behind him.
It's like, what the
fuck? Ben Stiller trying to cry, but he can't.
Yeah, when he protects the chopper and hits the grenade with his hands.
His hands up. And he's like, you know what? I think we need to take a break. We need to cut. He's like, no, I'm the director. I say cut. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna take a cut. He's like, what's the problem? He's like, action here. Can't cry. Oh my god. He's like, want some? Get some. Peekaboo. I see you. Oh my god. I'm telling you, man, it blows me away that's Robert Downey Jr. It's so good. There's times where it's like, oh man, it doesn't, like, it's in his eyes, but like,
does he has contacts on too, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because his eyes look fucking like wild.
Yeah, he does such a good job. Whatever they did to him, it's great. It's perfect.
Kirk Lazarus, the character, was originally supposed to be an Irish dude, and then because Robert Downey Jr. had done a little film called Natural Born Killers, where he has, I believe, like an Australian accent. He thought that he would be able to do that. You interpret that kind of, I guess, that dialect in this character more effectively than Irish. So it's pretty crazy. I guess I do have Swan facts still.
You still pull them out there. They're in the summer. Oh god, yeah. Like, this movie is so great. It's so fun. I'm pretty sure this used to be this used to have a rotation on like TNT or like TBS or something at one point when it was like really big.
A bit of more darker history for this. I believe it was Matthew McConaughey's character, who he plays, what was it, Rick Pecker, right?
Yeah.
That was originally supposed to be Owen Wilson, because Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller are homies, but Owen Wilson had to pull out pretty much at the last minute, and it ended up being because of an attempted suicide. Did you know that?
Oh, no way. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Whoa. So Owen Wilson tried to kill himself?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I did not know that. That's crazy.
It is.
I like the line also where he's Tug's talking about adopting a kid, and then Matthew McConaughey's character's like, "Oh man, well at least you get to pick yours," and he's like, "I'm stuck with mine." And he looks at the picture with his son, who's like looking away. Oh my god, it's like so depressing. He's like, I don't know. Oh my god, that was so funny.
What would your rating be for this?
This is hard because I think it's just so much fun for me. I feel like a 4.5 out of 5. For me, I mean, this is just, it's so fun. There's nothing, I can't really say that it's like this movie sucks or anything. I couldn't give it anything less than that. To me, it's such a fun movie that it deserves that. But that's my opinion. What about you? 4 out of 5 Twigmans.
I would say it's probably like a 3 out of 5.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
I've seen it a few times before watching it for the show, and there definitely is a lot to enjoy, and seeing all of these kind of random actors kind of playing off of one another, especially Danny McBride, or a younger Danny McBride. It's pretty wild to witness.
Mm-hmm.
And think about where
young Bill Hader, kind of like in the beginning of his career, probably like just starting on SNL.
Yep. Seeing thinking about where everybody has went since then,
right.
And I think everyone's, for the most part, had substantial careers, right?
Yeah, for sure.
definitely. I think a solid 3. And something to think about with this is really it's in a class of its own.
Yes.
There is nothing. They really created something that has never really been done before.
Yeah.
And and even since, like, it's just something actually, everybody says, like, there's nothing, nobody tries to do original ideas, in Hollywood anymore. But when you think of Tropic Thunder, it's like, yeah, it's kind of remixing all of these different tropes and stuff that you're familiar with in other films, older stuff, but it's doing it in such a way that's like high gloss, studio film, and then it's throwing in this like very unorthodox comedy. But the way that it was done, and especially thinking about that Ethan Coen had a hand in the writing, is so it's crazy. It's
bonkers.
And the fact that just Ben Stiller, based on his experience on that Steven Spielberg set with like other actors saying, because I guess they made him for the Empire of the Sun, they made all those actors go to a boot camp and they put them through all of this stress of being like a real unit. So then a lot of those actors were like, yo, like we're fucking, they got up their own ass and were like, yeah, we're like a real fucking unit, like we're in this shit, and then they're telling Stiller this and he thinks it's fucking hilarious. And then he comes up with this kind of bare bones concept and then makes a name for himself, right? With was it Meet the Parents? That's a big franchise,
Oh yeah.
He becomes basically a big star behind the camera and then a big star in front of the camera. And that affords him this, the opportunity of making this vision come true all those years later, because Empire of the Sun, I think, was 87. And then Tropic Thunder was greenlit in 2006, I believe. So that's a really long time.
Yeah. For him to hold on to that for so long.
Yeah, and still even want to do it. You can tell that it meant a lot to him, and it's crazy. Think about that. Yeah. The guy from Heavyweights did that movie.
Yeah, he's been everywhere. He's definitely had his fingerprints on a lot of things.
A lot of things.
Yeah. Heavyweight. So good. I had that on VHS.
Also, this is totally veering off, but I wanted to give a little shout out to this small shop called Pentagram Peter Pan, who they put up an I Know What You Did Last Summer all over print, and it was on Sunday. They did a giveaway. I entered on a whim, and I won.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's a $50 shirt that I probably wouldn't have bought because it's just I am poor. But I get to live the dream, and I'm so stoked on that. So shout out to Pentagram Peter Pan for not only putting out incredible stuff. James and everyone listening, if you don't follow them, you should follow them because they put out the coolest bootlegs. Some of the coolest bootlegs out there. So definitely follow them.
And I definitely will now. Yeah, I think that's it, man. I think we covered everything pretty well. What about you? What do you think?
I still dig the movie.
Yes.
I don't think it's for sensitive folks out there. So be forewarned. It can be I guess what would be the word? Kind of vulgar in certain parts. So if you're easily offended, just like within stand-up comedy, maybe stay away from this one. But if you're not, and you haven't seen it yet, check this out. Like we said, it's free on Pluto. It's a lot of fun. With that being said, next week I know Ryan Jimenez is missing. Unfortunately,
miss you, Ryan.
Yeah, we miss you always. And next week is going to be his pick, so I'm going to go ahead and announce what we're going to talk about. We're going to keep the theme rolling for Pride and do a vintage film with, of course, Keanu Reeves and River Phoenix. It's called My Own Private Idaho.
Okay, I have not seen that one. I heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
You gonna watch it now. You gonna learn.
Yeah.
So excited to kind of bookend the month with that film. I haven't seen it in a long time, so it'll be cool to revisit it and kind of break it down with Ryan back in the fold. Shout out to you, Ryan, if you're listening to this. James?
Yeah.
Go ahead and let the lovely listeners out there know what it is we do and who we are.
So we are Drop the Mic. We are a San Diego-based podcast. We release weekly episodes, usually every Friday. This episode is a little later, but that is due to some scheduling conflicts. But nonetheless, every week we drop an episode, if not two sometimes on special occasions. But if you enjoyed what you listened to today on this episode, give us a 5 stars, a thumbs up, write a positive review if you have the time. It only takes a couple of seconds just to say something nice about the episode or our podcast in general. And if you really like this episode and you want to hear more from us, you can go back to our catalog. We have a huge catalog of previous episodes, going all the way back about 4 years. So you can you get to hear us from the beginning. And then and us now. So definitely check that out. We are available on every single platform that shows podcasts that you can listen to a podcast on. We are Drop the Mic, like I said. You can find us on Instagram. It's at @dropthemic_pod. Give us the 5 stars. If you like what you heard, let us know. You can write us on Instagram. You can tell us what we did wrong, what we did right, and we'd love to hear from you. And also, if there's a film that we haven't done yet, there's tons of them out there. Let us know which one you want us to review, and maybe have you on as a guest, which is always we're always open to that. But I think I covered pretty much everything. What do you think? You
always kill it. You've perfected it. It's beautiful, man. You've mastered the craft.
Thank you. Yeah, it took a while, but it finally got it. Man, it's fun doing this with you and Ryan. When we're all together, it's so fun. So thanks for having me and letting me be a part of this, man.
Of course, man. Anytime. Thank you for being a busy guy and still making room for us in the schedule. It's always a blast to have you on and chop it up about what we love so much. Next week, we're going to be talking about a little film called My Own Private Idaho, with hopefully Ryan returning. He better show up, right? All right. So for tonight, this is James Warny, Wesley Swanson signing off, saying good fight and good night.
Gentlemen, I've got good news and bad news. The studio wants to shut us down. That's the bad news. And the good news. If you want to save this movie, you will become a unit. Your objective is to head north to the Danquuk River and liberate the POW camp, at which point Foley will get himself captured, at which point you will rescue him, at which point we will topper you home. Foley, since you're the staff sergeant, there's the map, there's the scene list. Think you can handle it? We have rigged this entire Valley of Death with hidden cameras. And I will be shooting as well, from unseen vantage points, so that every glorious moment is captured on film. And believe me, gentlemen, it will be glorious. If it looks real, chances are it probably is. You wanted to be actors? You wanted to occupy the skin of another human being? Well, get ready to occupy the skin of a terrified US infantry grunt surrounded by death, crawling up Satan's bottom. There'll be ambushes, enemy fire, your own little personal slice of naan. This radio goes to the chopper and the chopper only. The chopper is God, and I am Jesus Christ, his son. You are my chosen disciples, and no one gets to go home till we get the shots. Put on your war faces, gentlemen. Now, let's go and make the greatest war movie ever! Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!